Now we'll discuss the use of literary text for language teaching. In this regard, I'll just give you a brief introduction or overview of the use of literary text for language learning in the beginning, and then we'll look into its various benefits and aspects later on. The employment of literary text, especially in English language teaching, and this tradition is very old. This is not new. Right from the beginning of teaching English as a second language in various EFL and ESL contexts, the literary text has been employed extensively in order to teach people about the various aspects of language, as well as to appreciate English literature. So this is not new. Some people believe that introducing these texts to young learners is naturally more suitable option because this may bring some delight or fun or entertainment along with the learning of language. People might appreciate the elements or the characters from a different culture or society. Using literature may also help in promoting the teaching for academic or specific occupational purposes, but this field is yet to be developed. Literature can help in developing a liking for the reading among learners, and naturally it would lead to developing a reading proficiency, because if people become used to read more and extensively literature in a foreign language, this would affect positively their reading proficiency. And in doing so, later on it can be expected that literature can be used for English for academic purposes or English for specific purposes, by looking into the literature related to a certain area of occupation or area of study. Literature or literary text may also empower students to interact with the text by understanding it and by comprehending the various concepts involved in it. So this might help in developing our students' critical abilities. And using literature may also be seen as an effective way of apprehending the learner's attention. As I said earlier, that besides achieving the learning objectives, literary texts make teaching and learning a process of fun and some kind of entertainment for both teachers and students, because a good literary piece might hold both teachers and students' attention for a longer period of time. There are certain arguments against the use of literary text in language classrooms as well. And these arguments were usually raised by the advent of communicative language teaching. When there was a focus on communicative language teaching, it was realized that instead of making people read a literary piece in a language classroom to appreciate the culture of a different community, they must be taught the language focusing on certain communicative aspects which would be helpful for them in their future professional ways. Moreover, globalization and international trade has also made the learning of English more specific based on certain academic or professional needs. Using classical text in such situations may not be very helpful because they focus on certain skills, language skills, which must be given preference over others. But if we introduce detailed literary text in EAP or ESP classrooms, according to certain researchers, this may not be very helpful. Finally, I would just like to introduce you to the aspect of culture which is embedded in literary text. Literary text represents a particular culture, especially the culture of the people who speaks that particular language in which that literary piece has been written. So this cultural aspect may make the understanding of a particular literary text difficult for the learners who are learning or reading that literary piece as a second language learners. Therefore, introducing a literary piece of work in a language classroom may be a complex issue in certain situations. We have seen that it may facilitate learning in a certain way, and it may be an impediment in learning in another way. So teachers must be careful about all these aspects, both helping and hindering aspects of literary text when they introduce a literary text in their classrooms.